23 years ago, I had a dream to change my life. And at the time, I was locked away in a cold, dark, grey, dingy prison cell. I was staring at 4 grey walls, thinking to myself, my life doesn't have to end like this. And that's when all of a sudden, I closed my eyes and a vision of the future popped into my head. And as crazy as this sounds, even though I was locked away inside this little prison cell, I could picture myself in my mind being clean, free, and happy. And the vision that came into my head was me and my daughter, Ella Louise. She was 1 year old at the time. And we were in a park just running around and having fun. And obviously, because I was locked up in prison, I felt like the worst father in the world. But every night, when I visualized this image of me and Ella running around in the park, I felt free. And that's when my first dream was created. I never had a vision board. I never had a morning routine. I wasn't journaling every day. I was battling with addiction and I was locked inside a dungeon, a prison cell. But every single night, as mad as that picture sounded, because my environment did not reflect that dream whatsoever, I kept visualizing it and it felt good. And I believed somewhere inside my heart and soul that if I created such a mess of my life, then I could turn it around and turn that vision into a reality. And that was literally my first dream. Now, let me be honest, I didn't come out of prison and everything changed overnight. In fact, I went back to prison about 8 months after. I would go to temples and I would meditate with the monks. I would travel to Thailand and I would get off my nut. Then I would go and take drugs again, and I had a counselor and a coach trying to help me. And I relapsed 1,000 times. It took me about 6 years to finally give up alcohol and drugs. And it's been about 20 years now, and I've been clean and sober off of everything. But it took me about 6 years to turn that first dream into reality. And believe it or not, 6 years after that prison cell, I was running around living that exact vision in my mind with my daughter, Ella Louise, and we were just having fun in the park playing hide and seek. It was incredible. I literally turned that vision from a prison cell into a reality. And I say that to truly inspire you, no matter where you are at the moment, no matter what you're going through or what you've been through. I mean, if I can turn my life around from where I came from, I believe anybody can. And here's something that I truly discovered after I turned that first vision into reality, that once you create a vision and it becomes a reality, it gives you this confidence boost, and then you can start dream stacking. You can think of the next dream and then turn that into reality. I mean, why would you stop? So my second dream was then to write a book and share my message with people, because I generally wanted to inspire others and say, look, I've come from where I've come from, I've turned it around, and so can you. And as crazy as it sounds, I decided to write a book. And the reason why it sounds crazy is because I left school when I was about 15, 16. I had no qualifications. I got kicked out. I didn't like writing. Never enjoyed sitting behind a computer or even in English classes writing on pieces of paper. It bored the life out of me. In fact, I would read the words in books and they would jumble around. I'm sure I have dyslexia, but I've never been labelled or gone to the doctors for it. But I just couldn't read properly, and it took me ages to get to the end of a book. But for some reason, I had this crazy idea that I wanted to write a book and just inspire other people to say, look, guys, if I can do this, so can you. And every night I would visualize myself at book signing copies of my book. I would see me standing on stage in London, speaking to people, inspiring people, motivating them to change. And then I would literally visualize my book on the top of a bookshelf. I didn't know what the bookstore was called. I just literally would see people going to the bookstore and they would pick up my book, and it was called Wake the Fuck Up. About a year after I had that vision, I had a meeting with a publisher, with one of the biggest spiritual publishing companies in London, and I got my advance for my book and I published my book, Wake the Fuck Up. Again, that took about 2 or 3 years for me to get that book out of me and publish it. But one of the most incredible things is that book sold thousands of copies. I got messages from people all around the world. We donated hundreds of copies to young men in prison. And best of all, one of my friends at the time, she sent me a message when she was in New York, and she was in Barnes and Nobles, and she saw my book on the bookshelf and she took a selfie to send it to me. And that was my second biggest dream. I was like, wow, this is crazy. This stuff really works. And then I decided to dream bigger. I decided that I wanted to leave England and follow my goosebumps. I didn't want to work a 9 till 5. I didn't like the grind. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to do what I loved. I wanted to travel, see different cultures, and move abroad. And so I flew to Africa, I flew to India, I flew to Thailand, Bali. I had these incredible holidays. And then I decided that I wanted to live in Thailand. And I literally jumped on a plane with a one-way ticket. I had no job, I had no friends, I had nowhere to live. And I did a yoga teacher training for about 4 weeks and then decided that one of these islands called Koh Samui was the island that I was going to spend the next few years of my life. And it's been almost 10 years now. And it worked out a million times better than I could ever imagine. When I moved to Thailand, I became a yoga teacher, met loads of new friends, found beautiful homes to live in. I've been living by the beach, by the ocean, and it's been phenomenal. And then I built a meditation company where we impacted thousands of people. We trained over 400 meditation coaches. I built a 6-figure business from my laptop. I was like a digital nomad, I guess you could say. And I was just traveling around, coaching people, building online courses, and just sharing the meditations that I loved over the years. And the reason why I'm sharing that is because the dream was literally just to get on a plane and go to Thailand and travel and see what would happen. And then years later, I built a whole life from it. The dream was just to write the book and see if I could inspire other people. And we sold thousands of copies and I get messages weekly from people. The dream was to just get out of prison and get clean and see what would happen. Never in a million years did that young man that come out of prison or when he was in prison feel like he'd be making these videos for you guys on YouTube and traveling around and being a published author and making the money that I make. It blows my mind. You know, it makes me feel emotional when I think about that young man that was in prison that felt so lost and it was so dark and the thoughts were so negative and intrusive. But he held on to that dream. And that's what this video is all about. It's just really inspiring you to hold on to your dream. And I've got 3 steps that I believe I took along the way, and I've helped hundreds, maybe thousands of people follow these 3 steps to turn your dreams into a reality so that you can turn 2026 or the next year into the best year of your life. And so these 3 steps are quite simple. You know, they are, number 1, you've got to make a decision. I know it sounds crazy. It's not rocket science. It's not some woo-woo spiritual stuff. It's literally make a decision that you're going to achieve that goal or that dream. For example, if you want to lose weight and get healthy, you decide that you're going to become that person. If you want to make money, whatever it is, 100 grand or £1 million a year, you decide, or even like 20 grand, whatever it is, you decide that you're going to be that person and that you're going to turn that dream and goal into a reality. You make a decision. And you have to make that decision so firm and so confident within yourself that there's no plan B, there's no option, no other option. So for example, when I was in prison, I decided that I was going to get clean and no matter what it took, and it took me 6 years, and I failed thousands of times. Like the amount of times that I said, I'm never going to touch drugs or drink again. And like by 12 o'clock I'd say that in the morning, and by 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd be down the pub, bang at it. I would say it again and again. And I felt like a failure for so many years. But in prison, I made that decision, and that was in my core, that no matter what happens, no matter how many times I fail, I'm going to turn it into a reality one day. And 6 years later, it became a reality. And it might, like so many people would have given up in the first 6 months because it kept relapsing and relapsing. I see this a lot. I've worked with lots of addicts. And every time you fail, it sends a signal back to your brain that you can't do it, you can't achieve it. But you just got to keep on going because it might take 6 months, it might take 6 years, it might take 60 years to achieve one of your goals. I don't know how big your goals are, but I promise you, when you finally achieve it, it's a million times better than what you could have imagined. It feels a million times better. So 20 years after I achieved that goal, these last 20 years of my life, there's obviously been some ups and downs. It's been incredible. A million times better than what I could ever have imagined it was like when I was in that prison cell just trying to get clean. Same with the book. Never in a million years that we'd sell thousands of copies around the world, have all these opportunities I've had over the years just because I spent years sitting down writing a book and sharing what I believed could help people. And it all started with the decision, and the same as the decision to move to Thailand, jumping on a plane. I never had no job, no friends. And again, I'm sharing these stories with you to say this is the process of what it's like, and I want to inspire you to say that this is normal. You've got to normalize the fear, the failure. You've got to normalize the stress, the struggle. You've got to normalize it. It's not easy, and you've got to normalize it. But when you make that decision and you're firm in that decision and you're going to do whatever it takes to turn it into a reality, that is it. Like that's the first step out of all of it. It's not having a vision board or visualizing and going to ceremonies, writing goals down. These are steps. But the first step, number one, is the decision. if you don't make a firm decision, no matter what you're going to do, until you've achieved that goal, no matter how many times you fail, no matter how many times you trip over, if you don't have a very firm decision and you truly believe in that, then I don't believe you'll turn your dreams into a reality. And I say that with love because I want you to succeed. I truly love you. I want you to succeed. I want you to smash it. And it has to, step number one, it has to come from the firm decision. Step number two, you've got to repeat affirmations. And I know what you might be thinking. This is where Brett gets all woo-woo and hippie on me, and how many self-help people talk about repeating affirmations. But look, at the end of the day, there's a voice inside your head that doesn't shut up. Studies say that you have over 60,000 thoughts per day. So you've got a choice. You can just let those repetitive, negative, intrusive thoughts going over and over and over in your mind, you can just let that happen. But we all know how that's going to make you feel and what kind of life that's going to create. Or you can be a bit of a hippie and a self-help development dude and start, or woman, and you can start writing down positive affirmations that back up the decision that you've made to achieve your goal. Like, to me, it's like a no-brainer. Why would you not do that? So you would, for example, if you want to make £10,000, you would write down an affirmation and you would repeat it 1,000 times a day, 10,000 times a day. Something like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have £10,000 in my bank account on the 8th of December, for example. Or I'm so happy and grateful now that I am 10% body fat and I feel stronger and energized and I get excited when I look in the mirror and I love the person that is staring back at me. If you want to lose weight and get healthy. Or I'm so happy and grateful that I'm in a beautiful, healthy, loving, loyal relationship with the love of my life partner. It feels safe. I feel seen. I'm so happy and grateful. Thank you, universe. And you repeat these affirmations again and again because they're backing up your decision, that firm decision that you made. And again, it's not rocket science, this stuff, but 99% of the people are not doing this. 99% of the people are thinking why it doesn't work. They're complaining about the world. They're frustrated. And it's not your fault or their fault if that's where you're at. It's just the nature of the brain. It is wired to protect you. It is wired to be negative in a way. We have to interrupt that pattern, or you have to interrupt your pattern with these positive affirmations. Repeat them daily. And I've been doing this for 20 odd years and I'm still repeating positive affirmations about my future goals now. If you want to know one of my future goals, it is to get 1,000 people into my new community. So every single day when I have a bit of doubt or a bit of fear come up, or just when I remember, every single day, I say to myself, I'm so happy and grateful we have 1,000 members in this community by the 30th of March, 2026. So far, we have 200 people signed up. And I could be thinking, oh my God, where's the rest of the 800 people going to come from? And again, sometimes it does get doubtful. And my suggestion is when you doubt your dream, that's when you want to do the affirmations about 10 or 20 times. Because the more as soon as you see yourself doubting or getting into fear, then you quickly repeat the affirmation, you will start to train your brain not to stay in the fear and the doubt, but to start thinking positive about the outcome. And that's going to lead me on to number 3. Why do we want to make a decision? Why do we want to repeat positive affirmations about the goal? Because technically, number 3, we want to raise your vibration, activate the emotions and the feelings of the future self that feels good about the goal that you've achieved. In other words, we want to squash the timeline. We want to quantum leap into the future and feel how it feels now you've achieved your goal, so you've already succeeded. So in other words, if I'm in that relationship and I'm in a loving, loyal, loving, beautiful relationship and it feels safe and secure, I would get into the feelings of that now. I wouldn't wait until I met somebody. I wouldn't wait until 6 months. I would do it now. And it feels incredible. And you can activate that right here, right now. The affirmations will do it. The decisions will do it. Or just close your eyes and picture the person that has already succeeded and feel it. If you want to be the person who looks in the mirror and you're trim, you've got a 6-pack and you've got your muscles, you would see that person and feel that person now. You would activate the emotions and the feelings and feel it right here, right now, because it's your feelings that attract or create the reality that you're living in, the experience. Your thoughts, the mind, is just a tool. It's like a spanner that a mechanic would use to fix a car. If you want to fix your life, if you want to transform your life, you use the power of the mind by repeating affirmations and making a decision. But if you want to literally bend reality, manifest miracles, and literally quantum leap into the future, you've got to get the feelings activated. If you want to find peace, you want to protect your peace. Maybe the last few years have been very crazy and chaotic. And now you just want to protect your peace and come back into some love and like really connect to who you are. You're not really interested in making the millions and meeting someone. You just want to really connect to your soul. And you just wake up every morning and just focus on the breath and come back to that peace. that feeling that you've got inside you. And I guarantee if you follow these 3 steps, there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever, because of the life that I've had, from prison to publishing books to building businesses and traveling around the world and writing books. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that those 3 steps work for everybody. There's nothing special about me or somebody else that you see online that's completely smashing it. It's that they're just following these steps. They make a decision, they affirm it into their mind that it's going to become a reality. They're the affirmations. And then they start to feel it. They feel good about it. They're not sitting there complaining about it. They're not sitting there thinking it's never going to work out. And the ones that do complain about it or think it's never going to work out are the ones that are not succeeding, whatever success looks like to you. So follow those 3 steps. Number 1, make a decision that you're going to achieve that goal. My decision, I'm going to get 1,000 members in the community. I'm going to do everything I can and get them in that community. Yeah, I'm going to do everything within my willpower to get off of drugs if this is what you're struggling with. Or you say, I'm going to do everything what I can to become that millionaire. Or I'm going to do everything to meet that soulmate. You know, that's number 1. You've got to make a decision. And after you've made that decision, your ideas will come to you. It's obvious what actions and behaviors you need to implement to turn it into a reality. But if you don't make the decision, or, you know, if it gets hard and you fail, because you're going to fail a number of times, then you'll give up. But once you make that decision and you tattoo it inside your soul, then it has to become a reality. Number 2, repeat affirmations. Your brain is going to be thinking negative, all the reasons why it doesn't work. All your childhood conditioning and programs are going to be coming up, going against you. Your parents' beliefs, the society's brainwashing. So you've got to reprogram your brain. And then number 3, you've got to feel the vibration. You've got to activate the emotions and the feelings of the future self. Because what we're really doing here is we're shifting identities. Like, the person that's talking to you on the camera right now is a different identity to the person in the prison cell that was on drugs. My beliefs about life, my beliefs and feelings about myself, my philosophy about the universe, like, it's so different compared to that little man, or that young man that was in that little prison cell. He was so closed-minded. He was so stuck in this prison cell, and it was just a reflection of everything that was going on inside. So follow those 3 steps and you will shift your identity. You will jump timelines and turn your future vision into a reality. And in my experience, it's 1,000,000 times better than what you could ever imagine. And it is actually a lot faster than you could think. It happens a lot faster. Even though it took me 6 years to get off of drugs, I know people that are still in addiction 20 or 30 years later. I know people that have taken their lives because they couldn't get through it. And so for me, 6 years was nothing. It took me 3 or 4 years to write a book. And as I was writing it, it was like, oh my God, this is so hard. But now I look back and we've inspired thousands of people. It's been 10 years later. It's like, wow, it actually was a small sacrifice to make for the bigger picture. And if you want to join us and you want to really take your life to the next level, like, you generally want to follow tips like this, and I will go through the meditations with you and guided visualizations every single day live, then I've got an amazing challenge coming up. It's 1,000 minds. You can click the link below. And if you're just fed up with going around in circles, or fed up with talking about changing, and fed up with saying you're going to achieve your goals, join the 1,000 Minds Challenge. Click the link below, and it's 7 days free trial. If you enjoy it, you can stay. If not, you can just leave. But we're going to show you how to transform your mindset and activate your frequency so that you turn your reality into just the most incredible dream you could ever imagine. And it's not all woo-woo and spiritual, even though there's going to be a lot of that in there. It's also very practical. You need to make decisions. You've got to start thinking positive. You've got to feel better. You do need a routine. So I'm going to be sharing all of that stuff with you inside this live community. It's very, very exciting. So join me, be one of those 1,000 members in my vision, and then I will help you turn your visions into a reality. And these 3 steps and everything that I'm going to be sharing with you in the community, it works for everything. Whether you want to attract love, money, health, happiness, peace, enlightenment, when you follow those steps, ultimately what we're talking about is creating more freedom. When you follow these steps, you will create that freedom that you crave. So click the link below, check it all out now, watch the video, and if you feel resonated with it and you want some focus, accountability, coaching for £1 a day after your 7-day free trial, you can have a trial, see if it's for you. If you want that focus and discipline and morning routines that are going to help you absolutely smash it, then check it out. Link is in the bio. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.